Good morning, my fellow yogic travelers. I'm mighty glad to be alive today, and I hope that you are too. I'm finishing this week with BKS Iyengar, and I'm certainly going to come back to him again and again over the next couple of weeks or months, or however long I'm given the time to do this, because there's so much he has to share, and I want to continue to honor his memory, even if he's no longer in the body and people will not be able to study with him in person. There are a lot of videos and a lot of wonderful teachers out there carrying his message. But he has a lot to say also, because masters are not only masters of whatever form or technique they're working with, but they're masters of language. And he certainly spoke a number of languages, including English, besides Marathi and Hindi. And so his main thing for me was certainly therapeutic yoga, because I came into yoga with a bad back and learned so much more about how to help other people using his principles. So the first thing that you understand about yoga in general, it is cheaper than medicine and can be practiced anywhere. Yoga helps you navigate back and forth between religion and psychology, and also what I would call the cultural kaleidoscopic influences that we're all faced with, which in some way identify us with our family, with our culture, with our ethnicity, with our nation, with our gender, with our economic group, and so forth. That's what I call the cultural kaleidoscope. And you have this clay, you turn it this way, and then it looks different. You turn it this way, it looks differently. So your perspective is really important here. Once you realize that psyche and soma, mind and body, go together, they're interrelated, they're interwoven. It's almost like a tantric understanding that the world is interconnected, the world is interdependent. Yoga means union. You harness the different or disparate aspects of your mind and body together, and you see the unity that's connected there. And then the unity goes beyond just your own mind and body. You understand what I would say is the individual aspect as a reflection of the universality, or the variety of each person being different amongst the unity of the diversity. So in order to do this, you start with the body work, but then you use your intelligence like a knife to dissect and cut the wheat from the chaff, what's true from what's false. And then, of course, yoga suggests tremendous alternatives. Right? It's a philosophical subject, but it also has this therapeutic side to it. And so, yoga is not meant to continue or even create the fear complex. It teaches you how to look to vastness, and not limit your outlook. According to yoga, lack of true knowledge, not just the knowledge learned in books or in school that gets you a job, lack of true knowledge, which means the knowledge of the source of your own existence, that is the source of all pain. And although pain has different ways of arriving in your body, sometimes it's dormant, sometimes it's attenuated, it's a little bit less, sometimes it's interruptive. By things you do, you get distracted, you forget about it. Sometimes it's fully active, right in your face. You can't not know it's there. And to study and not be passive about this, you have to fight it with your own energy. If you're taking the allopathic method, I'm not denying that it doesn't have benefits, but it's almost always relying on external agents, whether they're pills or liquids or injections or surgeries. I'm not saying it's wrong. It's just one way of doing it. And in yoga, of course, the idea is, whether you use that or not, is to realize you have a vast arsenal, a comprehensive arsenal inside yourself, which is the Eightfold Path. How does virtuous living, how does practicing body work, breath work, relaxation, successive stages of meditation, study, service, devotion, consecrated action, how does this also help you to get into what I call a non-dualist state, where you're not split? And if there's any via negativa in your life, you find a way to turn it in towards the via positiva, so life has meaning, life has worth to you. So that means in some way you have to say, I want to overcome the problem to the best of my ability, to the extent that it's humanly possible, before you can overcome it. I love one of the quotes that says, yoga helps you cure what can be cured, and helps you endure what must be endured. So, even though yoga seems to be translating images, concepts, practices from Eastern philosophy to Western philosophy or an ancient philosophy into a contemporary embodiment, what you really extract from that is we are meaning-creating beings. It's largely up to us to allow what meanings influence our life. No one is going to decide this for you. It's a journey that each person must take and forge out of their own personal connection to this and creation. Even if you have other people in your life who are helping you to heal, influences that are non-medical but psychological or practical or personal, familial, well, it doesn't matter. All healing is self-healing. You have to turn the light of consciousness onto yourself and then assume responsibility in an eager way. Really be into it, not kind of drag your butt around and say, all right, I got to do it because I have no other choices. Really be into it, some zest, some passion. Get turned on to this. And then more deeply and more quickly than you might imagine, your life turns around and moves towards what most people would say who practice yoga. My life is definitely in a better place now than where it was before. And the kind of people I've attracted into my life are better cut, a better class. People who I have faith in, people who have faith in me, people who I trust, people who have trust in me. And then you could say your heart is healed because there's so much suffering in the world. It's easy to shut off. It's easy to want to escape. But yoga is not an escape. Yoga is an immersion. And although, yes, there are periodic times when you intensify your practice or go on retreat, and to that extent you could say you disengage from life temporarily. But it also is a path that helps you re-engage in life and bring the best that you have forward. And that's what I've learned from my studies with BKS Iyengar. So I hope you take the message to heart, which first of all, of course, is hit the mat, have a practice, and if it's not yoga, yoga is an art form. Find a practice that helps you develop your sense of aesthetic in whatever you do. Because we are, after all, Homo aestheticus. Humans the beautifier. Make everything beautiful. Look with the eyes of beauty. And then, of course, beauty means you love, because when you're appreciative of everything, that's the lover consciousness. So my motto is, I begin the day with love, I fill the day with love, I end the day with love, and I try to give as much care and generosity as I can to every person I meet. Go down and do likewise. Have a lovely day. Hope to see you next week. And don't forget, sign up for the Mexico vacation, and somebody reach out to me and come and help me with do yoga. I'd like to have some assistance.